I can't believe it's the end of May already. I feel like the year is going by so quickly. Literally, I was planning my videos, and did you guys know halfway through the year, I think is it July 1st? Because I was planning a mid-year reset for you guys. That's only in a month, is halfway through 2023. But not to get ahead of myself, because today we are doing my reset for June. So if you watched my May reset, which was so good, and I'm going to talk about that in a second, but this reset's going to be very similar to that one. And if you're in a rut, I highly recommend watching that video because I had a lot of steps to get out of that rut, and I'm just so happy because I definitely want to say it has worked. It's a month later and I feel so much better. I'm just going to mention a couple of the steps that I took that I feel like have really worked before we get into all my June stuff. So things I decided in my May reset that I really wanted to work on were a couple things. Number one, my goals list isn't a to-do list. You can see in my May reset I spoke a lot about how I went back through and I was realizing like what wasn't working for me, and my goals were just feeling very unintentional. They were just rolling over and it felt more like a to-do list rather than things I was passionate about. I was passionate about them. It would be things like bullet journaling, reading, or Notion and planning, but it was like things to do rather than, I guess, achievements and hopes for the month. I also wanted to work on going to sleep a lot earlier and waking up a lot earlier, and whilst I'm not perfect, I have totally been working on this and it has been working. If you're watching this and you are currently trying to wake up earlier, take this as me feeling so much better. If you watch my May reset and watch me now, take this as a sign to just get out of bed. And I need to hear that too. I'm still not perfect, but it does make me feel way better. And something else I did in May, which was sort of weird and hard because they're things I love, but wait, let me say this properly. I cut back on some things I love doing because I wasn't in the headspace to be able to do them. Nothing crazy, that sounds a bit dramatic, but for example, I love habit tracking. I have so many videos on habit tracking, but I was in this space where I wasn't even looking at my bullet journal every day. I couldn't focus on too many habits, so I needed to go back to basics, and I stopped like doing a lot of habit tracking, which I've habit tracked since 2019, so that was very weird, and I still did like some goal tracking. Sometimes going back to basics is better to get forward, if that makes sense. So let's get into it. First thing we're doing, besides obviously that little May chat I had with you guys, is going over my accomplishments for May. If you don't know what my accomplishments are, this is something I do and I talk about it in every reset video. I started doing this in 2020 during the lockdowns when I realized so much time was passing and I had no idea what I was doing, and I knew I was doing so much, but it didn't really feel like I was accomplishing anything. So I started going back through my months and writing down all the little things I accomplished and things I wanted to remember. Quick little spiel, I do this every month and it is so good for motivation, mental health, being intentional, everything like that. This isn't all of my accomplishments for the month, I write those down in my bullet journal, but here are a couple I pulled up for you guys. So this is a small one, but I want to celebrate my small achievements. I am about to hit 750 followers on TikTok. Now that isn't a lot, especially compared to what I have on YouTube with you guys here, but I have really been trying to put a lot of effort into TikTok, and I remember at the beginning of the year I had a goal, I think it was to reach 500, and I just wasn't hitting it, so I took it off my goals list and thought I'd just post without a numbers goal. But this month I have seen that my TikTok is actually growing and my videos are doing better, and I feel much more comfortable on the platform. I've also, like I said, been working on my habits and routines, which I'm so proud of. I also started setting up my garden in the backyard. Not all the plants have gone to plan, but it is so nice and so fulfilling. Just gardening, I love it, and especially with the nice weather, it's such a nice way to be outside. We also had family come to visit. My mum visited us in Ottawa, and that was our first visitor we had in Ottawa. I also started going to farmers markets this month. I love a farmers market. I've been really getting into a routine of going to the farmers markets in Ottawa. I've been to Lansdowne and Kanata so far, but we're going to all the ones around Ottawa and I am just loving it. Getting such nice fresh seasonal produce and chatting with the farmers and just having a nice day out on the weekend. And then the other thing is my cats arrived from Korea. They've been living with my sister in Korea for the past year, and before that with my mum and my sister in the UK. Finally I have them here and I get to take care of them, and I've had them since 2016 and I'm really excited to just have them living with me now. Okay, next segment we're going to talk about what has and hasn't been working for me. So let's start with has. Something that has been working, putting things where I can see them. So for example, in my bullet journal, I think I've been able to focus on my goals a lot more because my goals page is on a page that I flip back to a lot and I keep it bookmarked. So being able to see that and keep it front of mind has really been working. And that also counts with other things, like if I want to vacuum, I might leave the vacuum out. If I want to read a book, I'll put it on my nightstand. Being in a routine has really been working in a bunch of different ways, like the weekly routine, like on the weekend going to the farmers markets. And also I've been working on my morning routine a lot. I believe I have a video coming out next week, which is a vlog of me talking about my morning routine and working on my morning routine, if you guys want to check that out. I have also been loving having matcha. I do love a good coffee. However, I don't know what it is, but having matcha in the morning instead of coffee, just at the moment that has been working for me. I'm just trying to be intuitive, and I'm definitely craving matcha more than I'm craving coffee. So I've also been loving the sunny weather, and it has definitely been working, taking advantage of the sunny weather, and like having the brightness is really nice. And also just having the cats here, they're so good for my mental health. I love having them around, and if I had that door open, they'd literally be running in here. I'm trying to not make this video too chaotic, but I just love having them around. It's really been working. And I don't have as many things on the what hasn't been working this month, but a couple ones. Doom scrolling my phone, especially first things in the morning. I've really been working on this, and I'm so much better. I sort of want to acknowledge that that still isn't working, and I should focus on continuing not to do it. And then also just a bit of imposter syndrome, especially with YouTube stuff. It's hard to, I guess, get validated in this kind of job, but I'm trying to recognize that that does not serve me, it does not work for me. Now let's go through my May goals. If you see me looking down towards here, I do have my laptop. This went a lot better than last month. I wanted to finish The Defining Decade, which is a non-fiction book about being in your 20s. I did finish it just a couple days ago. I didn't love it, especially some of the last couple chapters. I wrote a review for this. I just wrote reviews on my Notion for myself. Don't get me wrong, there was a lot of good in it and a lot of good advice, but I also think, having studied sociology, I could kind of interpret some things she was saying in like a way that was useful to me, just like social sciences and that kind of stuff. However, I also do think it was quite outdated, and there were some things that were just, I don't even know how to say it. There were some things that I think were just a bit like preachy, I guess. So I rated it at 3 stars, but that was something I really wanted to do to finish that book. And I'm really working on my goal this year to read 3 non-fiction books. I wanted to make a physical vision board. When I'm filming this, we still have a few days left in the month, just because I want to get this up so you guys have time to like reset along with me and get some inspiration. So I haven't done this yet, but I think I will before the end of the month. I want to make a plan for DIY art around the house. I've kind of half done this. I would say like even 80%. I just need to make like a formal written down plan, but I have been buying supplies, and in my head I sort of know where I want things to go. I wanted to make an ideal morning routine page in my bullet journal and sort of write out what I wanted to do in my mornings, and I did do this. I wanted to have meals at a consistent time. I have really been working on this, so I would tick that off. I wanted to be in bed before midnight. I have not been perfect on this, but I think I'm doing so much better, so I would tick that off, I think. But it's not perfect. It's something I'm probably still going to have on my goals list for this month as well. I wanted to brainstorm stuff for my digital downloads Etsy store. I did not do that, but that's not going to take me too long, and like I said, I still do have a couple days left in the month, so maybe I'll plan to do that. I wanted to do a 24-hour readathon video, and now that will be coming to you guys in the next couple weeks, because yes, I did do this kind of. I started doing it, and then 24 hours is actually a long time. Like, I feel so stupid saying that, but it was really hard, and so I ended up cutting it down to a 12-hour reading video. I would say yes, because it was more, I wanted to film that kind of video, but I technically didn't do the original goal, if that makes sense. I wanted to start and plant the garden. I have. I wanted to post 6 YouTube videos. Right now with this video, I believe this is the 4th video coming out, and I think I should hit 5, so not 6, but I did a really good job. I wanted to post 20 TikToks, and I have done this, and I also wanted to write for 25 days. I think I'm on 20, so I didn't hit that completely, but I have been writing a lot, and I've been really liking that. Okay, we're gonna do the same thing as last month, because I don't want to rush brainstorming my goals for June. So I'm gonna jump in later once I've done those goals, and I'm gonna tell you about the goals I've planned out for June. Your balance on top of, I actually might film this afterwards so you guys can see, literally 3 candles on top of each other. But I have just finished figuring out my goals for June, and I'm so excited, and so I just want to tell them to you guys really quickly. And I also want to mention I have coming up some very exciting videos that are sort of in this reset theme. I believe next week I'm going to be doing my summer reset, which is talking more about sort of things I'm doing to reset for summer, obviously, and then also my summer bucket list. And I can actually tell you what else is going to be in there because I was just scripting it. Clothes organization. We're going to talk about habits for summer and all that kind of stuff. And then also at the end of June, I'm going to do my mid-year reset. So we're really going to get into the goals. We're going to get into addressing my goals that I set at the beginning of the year, all that kind of stuff. It's not a series, but like there is a lot more of these coming. We're going to dive a lot deeper into my goal stuff then. So subscribe if you want to see that. Leave a comment if there's anything you want me to particularly talk about in terms of like goal setting and planning and all that stuff. And I'll make sure to mention it. Was there just a cat in the back? So I have 9 goals total compared to 11 goals last month. And I think having less, more meaningful goals is working really well for me. A really big thing for me is to not make my goals list a to-do list. So when I was making this list, I probably had maybe 10 goals, and then I went through and I decided which one of these aren't actually goals and which ones are just stuff I want to do because I need to, and I took those things off my goals list and I just added them to my monthly to-do list. They're the first and only things on there for June because I haven't actually done my June bullet journal setup yet, so they'll be front of mind and I will actually get them done. I think that's part of the thing why my goals were turning into a to-do list, because I was worried I wouldn't remember them if they weren't on my goals list, but then that isn't good for goals. I don't know, there's all these things. I think I'm going to focus on using my monthly to-do list a bit more. So let's get into the goals. I have 3 progress tracker goals and then 6 just like regular goals. So the progress tracker goals, they're all multiple times a week. You'll get what I mean. I did them last month. In fact, I'll show you my goals page from last month. This is my goals page from last month. As you can see, I was doing a really cute like spring cafe theme. I have the goals here which I colour in once they're done, but then the progress tracker goals, these ones on the side, which I colour in like every day I do it. Half habit, half goal. Those goals are the same as last month. I want to post 20 TikToks, I want to write for 25 days, and I want to post 6 YouTube videos. My 6 proper goals, I have write 1 chapter. I've been working so hard in the planning phase for my writing. I'm writing a lot of like planning stuff, but to get 1 chapter on paper, it doesn't have to be good. Even just like a 0 draft chapter, I would be so proud of that. A lot of these goals are small and manageable because I feel like that's just what I need at the minute. So I mean, ideally I'll write more than 1 chapter, but if I have just write 1 on there, I think that will sort of motivate me to do more, especially once I've achieved that smaller goal. Plan my trip to the UK. I have flights booked to the UK and I have my graduation locked in because I graduated last year. I finished my degree. I did sociology at the University of Leeds, and because we moved to Canada, I was originally going to go back last year to do my graduation ceremony. Anyway, it's a long story, but I pushed my graduation ceremony to this year. It actually worked out so perfectly because now we get to go back and visit the UK and do like a trip back to the UK. We go to Leeds, London, Durham, where Jake's from, a bunch of different places. So I just want to like properly plan that out. I also want to plan my gallery walls. Last month, one of my goals was make a plan for art in the house. There's 2 spaces in the house where I want to do a gallery wall, and then we've also got some art being stretched onto canvases that I want to put in other areas around the house. One of the places I'd love to do a gallery wall is this big blank wall here, and then also there's a space like downstairs in our living room, but this one I think would be good to be more like personal and motivational, and obviously this is my office, so stuff more personal to me. While downstairs in the living room, Jake and I have taken some amazing photos while traveling, and also just cute photos of us and, you know, art prints we like. I'm not going to say I need to finish that, but I would like to plan it and maybe start working on like gathering some pieces for it. I did buy some canvases and some paint to do some art pieces. I just want to do 3 pretty simple art pieces myself. I think 2 for our bedroom and 1 for one of the gallery walls. This is Coco coming to say hi. So I want to do those 3 art pieces in June. And then what else do I have? Okay, so my last goal is, I'm not going to push Coco out of the way because I love when she hangs out with me. I want to be in bed by 12 AM, midnight. Oh my god, don't knock over the camera. This was a goal from last month and I've really been working towards that. Obviously this isn't every night, it's sort of more general, just moving my like night routine to that time. It feels so much better when I get to bed earlier. So yeah, I have been working towards that. I did tick that off my goals for May, and I just want to put that on my goals list because I want that to be top of mind for June as well. So jumping back, we're going to talk about my favorites to end off this video. I have so many favorites, but I'm also never sure what to write for this. Also, some things I mentioned in my like what has been working, like farmers markets, having the cats here, they're all favorites as well. Some other things, I have been loving making homemade coffee creamer. Now I had a look, I got my recipe from the Craftologist on TikTok. I'll put her account here, and she's been talking about how coffee creamers have a lot of like vegetable oil in them, and they're not really like cream, they're more oil and flavors. But I didn't realize how easy it was to make them, and I followed one of her recipes and made a cookie dough creamer, and it is so good. I've been having cookie dough and matcha in the mornings. If you keep an eye out for that morning routine vlog, like I was saying, I spoke about that matcha and like made it on camera. It is so good. So I don't think I'm ever gonna buy a coffee creamer again, honestly. I've also been loving lion's mane mushrooms. Now I've been buying these at the farmers market, and last week I was so upset. I went to the stall to pick up lion's mane and the guy in front of me said, "I will have the rest of your lion's mane." And that was all I wanted. It was so bad. But I love mushrooms, I love weird mushrooms, and I'm vegetarian, and so I do love things that taste kind of like quote-unquote meaty, I guess. Lion's Mane mushrooms are incredible. I'm obsessed and I'm constantly on the lookout for them, but I've only seen them at the farmers markets. But they're so good. You just like pan sear them with like some butter and some spices, and they taste incredible. I could eat them on anything, and I need to buy some more this weekend. A favorite book at the minute, I have been obsessed with Serpent and the Wings of Night. I'm currently about 50% into the sequel as well. I think I might even like the sequel more than I like the first book, and the first book was already 5 stars. It was just insane. I love that book, and Carissa Broadbent's writing is incredible. I also follow her on Instagram and she's so nice. I'm sure you guys have seen this book all over TikTok. It's like a high fantasy enemies to lovers vampire novel, and it kind of gives off like high fantasy Hunger Games energy, but this is your sign to read it if you've been thinking about it, because it is so good. I also don't know if you guys have noticed, I've been mentioning writing a lot more in my videos, and I have been loving writing. I'm working on like a high fantasy romance novel myself. Also, combined with that, I've been reading Putting the Fact in Fantasy by Dan Kobold. It's a Writer's Digest book with a bunch of essays on writing fantasy, and it's edited by Dan Kobold, and it is so good. Pretty niche, but if you write fantasy, I highly recommend it. And then the last thing for my favorites is I watched Queen Charlotte, which is a Bridgerton spin-off on Netflix. It's a prequel. It was incredible. I like sobbed through multiple episodes, and I just love Bridgerton. Yeah, I highly recommend checking it out. Okay, that was my monthly reset for June. Thank you so much for watching, and if you did like this video, please do like and please do subscribe, because I'd love to see you guys next time, and let me know one goal you're working on down below.